I thank the gentleman, and I thank the chairman and the ranking member for bringing this bill to the floor. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to ask my colleagues to support Resolution 792, which would urge the Secretary of the Interior to recognize the historical significance of Roberto Clemente's place of death near Piñones in Loiza, Puerto Rico, by adding it to the National Register of Historic Places. Formalizing the site of his untimely death will create a place for our nation to honor Clemente's career and legacy. He was a trailblazer in baseball and in his life of service outside of baseball. He was born in 1934 in Carolina, Puerto Rico. Roberto Clemente Walker had such pride and such humane ways which won him universal admiration. Some said that he had a very unorthodox way of hitting the ball. Yet he got 4 batting titles and 3,000 hits exactly on the last day of the season, the last season he played before he passed. He won 4 batting titles, and in right field had one of the most incredible arms you could ever see. And I still remember a day in New York where he threw a ball from the right field fence to third base without a bounce. And for a person of my age who could not throw the ball, but 100 feet perhaps, that was quite a sight to see. But there was Clemente, the other person. Clemente, the person who was always trying to build up people of color, who was always trying to build up a relationship between Latin America, knowing how important baseball was in Latin America and how important baseball was to Latin Americans and to people in the territory of Puerto Rico. He played a role in being that ambassador, to the point where when Nicaragua suffered a hurricane which had about 7,000 people killed, were the estimates, and thousands of people without food or water, he decided to lead a couple of plane loads of relief efforts to Nicaragua. But as times have it in those days, and perhaps in these days too, some, if not all, of the supplies he was sending of food and water to Nicaragua were being stolen and sold on the black market. So he decided on the next trip he was going to go himself, because he was so revered and respected in Nicaragua that nobody would dare touch anything if he was on the ground. And so he went and left on that plane on December 31st of 1972. The plane, after taking off, went into the water. Roberto's body was never found. And I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but I still believe that we Puerto Ricans, whether we're from New York or New Jersey or Puerto Rico, born or not born in Puerto Rico, still hold a certain need to have found him and to have given him the proper burial. But that never happened. And so when we do what we do today, hopefully, we will continue to honor this man, who was not only the first Latino in the Hall of Fame, who not only batted .317 lifetime, which is not an easy accomplishment, who did not only get 3,000 hits and had a rifle for an arm, who was, although it was people would say it was 2 World Series, it's the only player to get a hit in every single World Series game he played, 14 of them. He was just exceptional. And to this day, I can tell you that there are more Puerto Ricans who use the number 21, although it has nothing to do with them, on their email than any other number. There are more kids in Puerto Rico and throughout the states and the other territories who, when joining a team, ask for number 21 on their uniform for Roberto. That's what he means to us. That's what he means to the country. And as the people in Pittsburgh would tell you, it's not just Puerto Ricans, it's Americans in general. So this is a great thing we're doing. I applaud and support the efforts of the chairman and the ranking member, and I yield back the balance of my time.